There is only one 10 out of 10 stone cold guaranteed strategy to lose weight. Just one. And if we apply it, it works. I should know. I have the proof from my own yo-yo dieting journey. This is me, 2011 fat, 5 months later lean, 2017 fat, 2019 very lean, May 2025 fat, and now losing 3.5 pounds a week. But what caused my weight to rise and fall so dramatically? Was it exercise? No. From Feb 2011, I have trained very consistently, never taking more than a week off. Was it my metabolism? No. The amount of weight I am losing now, age 57, half a pound a day, is exactly the same as it was in 2011, age 43, eating almost exactly the same amount of food. This is the difference. Calorie surplus, calorie deficit, calorie surplus, calorie deficit, calorie surplus. So that should be the end of the video, yes? Eat less than your body burns. Problem is, it is a bit more complicated than that. I'm going to take you through the whole process of getting into a calorie deficit to help you achieve your weight loss and transformation goals. But I'm also going to share with you two really, really important things that are going to be towards the end of the video. Firstly, how the theory of creating a calorie deficit actually works in practice when I go through how I am using it to lose half a pound a day. Two, the problems with creating a calorie deficit as you lose weight. Quick interruption. There's something coming up in a few minutes called the Harris-Benedict equation, and it's how to work out your basal metabolic rate, which is really important if you're trying to go on a calorie restricted diet to lose weight, which is obviously what this video is about, calorie deficit. And I'd never heard of it. It's been around over 106 years. 106 years it's been around. I'd never heard of it before. And it came up in our school community. So 2 weeks ago, I started a school community. And the idea being is that people can go in there, they can ask questions. I'm in there every day, and we just go like mega deep on lots of stuff. And one thing that came up was this. Another thing that came up was an astonishing story by a guy. Well, we're talking about Ozempic and weight loss jabs. And one guy turned around and said he'd been microdosing Ozempic and is allowed me to share this story. He'd been microdosing Ozempic and it had helped him completely conquer his alcohol addiction. A crazy, amazing story. Over 4 litres of Jim Beam whiskey he'd been drinking every week, and along with 100 cans of Diet Pepsi, and microdosing got rid of it altogether, which is just one of the amazing things about being part of the community, the things that you learn, the things that we share. If you want to join the school community, go to the pinned comment at the top of this video, and also go to my channel description and it's in there. And I've just finished with CV. I've come in for my breakfast. So this morning, I'm having a morning off the diet. So what I'm going to be having is bacon, egg, mushroom, toast, hash browns, and black pudding, because you can't beat a bit of pig's blood. I fucking wish. This is what I'm having this morning. This is my breakfast. Cheers. So if you're really serious about getting stuck, hello, granddaughter's here. And so if you're dead serious about wanting to lose a ton of weight, go over there. It's lose 50 over 50. It's for men over 50 who want to lose 50 pounds or more. I'll see you soon. To create a calorie deficit, we need to burn more calories than we consume. That's pretty obvious, right? And to do that, we need two numbers. 1, how many calories are in what we eat? 2, how many calories do we burn every day? The first of these is dead easy. Write down what we eat and add it up. The key here though is that we must write down everything. That cheeky beer we have while watching the football and sauces on our food. I eat egg whites around 300 days a year and put 50 calories of ketchup on every single one. That's 15,000 calories in a year, an increase of 4 pounds in body weight. We write down everything because it all counts. I use a spreadsheet, but there are apps out there like MyFitnessPal that can do it for us. But does it feel like a massive pain in the arse? Definitely at first. But once you've done it for a few weeks, you kind of get into a rhythm. And it takes no more than probably 10 minutes a day max. But this is not optional. You will never guess your way into a calorie deficit. Studies have shown that people underreport how much they are eating by 20 to 50%. In other words, almost everybody is eating a lot more calories than they realise. And if we don't know exactly how much we are eating every single day, it's impossible for us to create a true and accurate calorie deficit. But more importantly, this underreporting of calories is what leads many people to believe that using the concept of a calorie deficit to lose weight doesn't work, when in fact the biggest reason is because the numbers they are punching in are incorrect. If we are eating more than we realise, of course a calorie deficit isn't going to work, because there isn't a deficit. Was that suitably patronising? Second part of this little equation of getting body beautiful is working out what our bodies burn. This is way more complicated. The golden number we are looking for is our total daily energy expenditure. This comprises of 4 acronyms. Of course it does. The base of it is our BMR, basic metabolic rate. This is sometimes called the resting metabolic rate because it's exactly that. The number of calories we burn at rest doing fuck all. You know those days when the family has gone away and you've trained the dog to bring you food so you don't even have to leave the sofa while binge watching all that stuff you've got on the planner that apparently isn't couples viewing. Yes, that kind of doing fuck all. That's your BMR. It is notoriously difficult to work out accurately, which is tricky after I have just punched you in the face about being accurate over your ketchup consumption. The Harris-Benedict equation has been known for over a century, but it has been revised since then, and this is what it looks like. But there's a problem, as the equation does not take into account body composition. Identical results can be calculated for a very muscular person and also someone who is overweight, because they're both the same height, age, weight and gender. But muscle and fat require very differing amounts of calories to maintain. This is why there is what they call a confidence range of plus or minus 200 calories. That's a lot and doesn't really fill me with a lot of confidence. But one thing that has been shown is that BMR is about 70% of average total daily energy expenditure. Next acronym is TEF, thermic effect of food. It is also known as diet-induced thermogenesis, and it's the energy our body burns to digest, absorb and process the nutrients from a meal. But the trouble here is that it varies between different food groups. Fats require the least energy, carbs require more, and protein require the most. This is another reason that people challenge the concept of a calorie deficit. They say they are eating the same calories but losing weight. They also say this while having a look on their face that makes you want to stab them with it with a fork. Go on guys. Can't just be me that has those dark thoughts. But yes, they are eating the same number of calories. But if more of those calories are coming from protein, it requires more energy to break it down, which increases their total daily energy expenditure. And this is why increasing protein in our diets is a very good thing. TEF is about 10% of our total energy, bringing us up to 80%. Next up, exercise, or to be more precise, eat. Exercise activity thermogenesis. There are 2 problems with calculating our exercise calorie burn. 1, accuracy. We all love our gadgets on our watches and phones and the readouts on the CV machines in the gym. I've got one of those buggers there. But in my experience, they can be wildly different and therefore inaccurate. 2, exercise clearly differs from person to person. I'm banging out an average of 4.5 hard weights workouts a week and around 6 hours of CV. Someone will be doing very different level of exercise to me. We'll revisit how I calculate how many calories I'm burning doing exercise in a short while in this video. But it has been shown that for the average person, how much exercise they do is only 5% of total energy. Now onto the last component of TDEE, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is all activity from the moment you get your ass off the couch and up to doing structured exercise. This includes the following: walking around the house, taking the stairs, fidgeting, carrying shopping bags, housework, gardening, DIY, cooking, washing the car, playing with kids or pets, standing. One of the reasons it's a good idea to consider a standing desk. Walking meetings or phone calls, walking while commuting, you know, when you park about half a mile away and walking. Chores like taking out the rubbish and unloading groceries, window cleaning, hanging out laundry, clapping at a sports match. And of course, that special activity we all do in our alone time. Yes, you do. The reason I'm listing all these is because they make up the rest of the TDEE, a massive 15% on average, 3 times what we burn during exercise. So 2 big points to make about NEAT because it will transform your life. Number 1, just do more low-level activity stuff. And 2, this is why how many steps we do in a day has become a huge thing over the last few years. It really does matter. So get a tracker and make sure that you get 10,000 steps into your daily habit. And this is our total daily energy expenditure. 70% burn at rest, BMR, 10% consuming food, TEF, 5% exercise, EAT, and 15% low-level movement is NEAT. For us to be in a calorie deficit, this must exceed the calories we eat. A pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So if we have a 500 calorie daily deficit, we will lose a pound a week. Simple. Not quite. I did say that getting accurate figures for all the components of total energy expenditure is very tricky. So I'm going to give you a practical example of how to do this by using my current numbers across the board, from calories I eat to calories I burn, the calorie deficit I'm currently in, and the weight loss it has actually produced. This is my spreadsheet. And I've got 2 lists. The first is the list of the foods that make up about 95% of my diet. When I'm working out what I've eaten in a day, I simply cut and paste from left to right. If I have something that isn't on the list, I'll just look on the back of the packet or look it up online. Important note, I don't con myself by not putting in the chocolate bar that just happened to appear in my hand from the piggy cupboard at midnight when I was hungry and feeling a bit sorry for myself. It all goes in a spreadsheet. It has to. Calories in is the easy part. Now on to calories out, what I burn. Let's start with BMR. Here's the equation again. When I put all my details in, the number that pops out is 2,024 calories. But as I said, this doesn't take into account body composition. And I have a much higher percentage of muscle from 14 years of consistently lifting heavy weights than the average bear. And muscles burn more calories than fat. So I reckon, finger in the air, I can increase that to about 2,300 calories. Next up is TEF, thermic effect of food. This is 10% of calories consumed. I'm eating 1,600 calories at the moment, so 160 calories is burned up just consuming it. That takes me up to 2,460 calories. Next up is NEAT. I'm static a lot of the time working from home, so I don't think I can allocate 50% of total energy to it. More like 10%, so I can throw on another 250 calories. That takes me up to 2,710. Now we're on to exercise, and this is obviously an area where I excel because of just how much I bloody do. I do an average of 4.5 weight training sessions a week. Last about 45 minutes. This is approximately 300 calories per session, which equates to an average of 190 calories a day. Now on to CV. I do 30 minutes steady state, which is 300 calories in half an hour. I follow this with 30 minutes interval training, also about 300 calories for half an hour. So I reckon, give or take, I burn about 600 calories in my CV session, which is in an average of 520 calories a day. With the weights, that brings it up to 710 calories average burned in a day. Total 3,420 calories. The next thing is to reverse engineer my success. Every single personal trainer and exercise professional tells us to lose weight slowly. That is brilliant advice. It helps our metabolisms adapt, we end up with less loose skin, and there is less chance of us putting the weight back on. But I can't do it. I just can't do it. I've always been like a bull at a gate with everything, taking like massive action to get massive results. My motivation would die off in a Yorkshire minute if I wasn't losing weight quickly. So for me, the number is half a pound a day. That keeps me motivated and I see results as quickly as I need to. As I mentioned, a pound of fat is 3,500 calories. To lose half a pound a day requires a daily calorie deficit of 1,750 calories. My total energy is roughly 3,420 calories. Take off 1,750 and I am left with 1,670 calories. And that is what I eat. But does it work? Well, in 2011, I wrote down all the data from my diet in spreadsheets. What I ate, how many calories it was, and how much weight I lost. And within single-digit percentage figures, it worked perfectly. But would it work 14 years later, now in 2025? After all, when I started in May, I was almost exactly the same weight and set exactly the same target of 70 pounds in 5 months. There are obviously some differences. My testosterone is naturally lower. I won't be able to exercise as hard, and potentially my ability to keep myself motivated would be different. But so far, it's been close to perfect. Again, I live by my beautiful spreadsheets, and they tell me the truth. 1750 daily calorie deficit has produced a weight loss of exactly half a pound a day every day so far. But it's not all been sunshine and rainbows. What happens when we lose weight? The numbers change. As flawed as it may be, let's use a long equation from earlier for calculating BMR. I am now 17 kilos lighter than when I started. That reduces my BMR by a substantial 200 calories a day. Neat and eat are interesting. In the beginning, climbing the stairs just here in the house was hard. It hurt my knees and I was out of puff by the time I got to the top. When I went on the cross trainer, it hurt everywhere. And it was uncomfortable being so unfit. But the sheer effort required turned me into like a fat furnace. It was incredible. But now I climb the steps without a thought, and while the cross trainer will never be easy, I am in a place where I have to push myself pretty hard on it to get the result I'm looking for. And I only have to look at the drop in my blood pressure and resting heart rate to see how much my underlying fitness has improved. Now, all of this is great news. It just means that I now have to work harder and be even stricter on my diet to maintain the same progress of losing half a pound a day. But the advantage of having the spreadsheets from 2011 is that when I look at them, my weight loss was very consistent. The only time I plateaued is when I ate more calories. The moment I went back to a 1,750 calorie deficit, the weight loss started again and carried on as it was before. I'm in the second half of losing 70 pounds in 5 months this time round, and the weight loss is still remaining incredibly and wonderfully consistent with the calorie deficit I've put in place. So obviously, I'm a massive fan, and the best thing about using a calorie deficit to lose weight is that it's not completely prescriptive. Within reason, you can eat any kind of food. Obviously, you can't eat all the shit you used to and eat it all the time. But if you know you're going out on a Saturday night, for example, with friends, then you can go tight during the week and bank some calories for the weekend. Plus, you can fiddle around with the numbers. My figures are super aggressive. For a guy my age doing my level of exercise, 1,600 calories is about as low as I would ever want to go. But you can have a lower calorie deficit, go slower, and it not be as painful, and enjoy more food. But despite this, there are a huge number of people who absolutely detest the concept of calories in, calories out to create a calorie deficit. And you might be one of them, and for good reason. You may have medical complications that mean it would never work for you. But here is my closing challenge. I'm an average, run-of-the-mill 57-year-old guy with average health problems and an average life. And the calorie deficit weight loss strategy is working for me because I'm smart enough to do two things. One, figure out my total daily energy expenditure with a reasonable level of accuracy. Two, record all the data around my diet, like weight and food. When someone comes to me and says that calorie deficit doesn't work for them, I ask them if they have done these two things. And almost always, eventually, they say no. To which I say the following. So how can you be sure it doesn't work for you? See you again soon.